learning to Nishmas Etta Ahuva Yaakov Mesachas Temurah Perek Beis Mishnah Aleph. Yesh b'karbonas yachid masheim b'karbonas sibur. Yesh b'karbonas sibur masheim b'karbonas yachid. There's certain things that apply only by karbonas yachid. Certain things that apply only by karbonas sibur. Shekarbonas hayachid oiset Temurah. Karbonas hatzibur ein oiset Temurah. Carbon yachid. If you make Temurah, the Temurah is chal. Now, by carbon sibur, it's not like we learned in the last Mishnah. That tzibur v'ashutfin ein oiset Temurah. We darshan that yachid oiset Temurah, le'at tzibur v'le'ashutfin oiset Temurah. The Gemara asked that there were other things also that we said are not oiset Temurah. So even by yachid is not oiset Temurah. For example, eifos we learned in the last Mishnah. Temurah itself is ein oiset Temurah, and also vlad of a carbon is not oiset Temurah. The Gemara answers we're talking about in the ikar zivcha, a carbon yachid is oiset Temurah. By the main regular case of the carbon, it's oiset Temurah, as opposed to by karbonas sibur, it's never oiset Temurah. The second example, the Mishnah says that karbonas yachid have is that noyigim b'zacharim b'b'nekevis, or karbonas sibur ain't noyigim ela b'zacharim. Carbon sibur is only noyig either by oiles, which oila has to be a zachar, or by a shlomim is dafka by the shalmei of the kivsei atzeres on shvuas, which is zachar. However, karbonas yachid, oiles, you have, the Gemara explains by oifais, is noyig by nekevis or by zacharim, because tamas v'zachris b'behema v'ein tam v'zachris b'oifais. There's no din of zachar by a oif, even in a keva bird could be brought. By shlomim, it's pashut, it could be a zachar and a keva. By a chatas, even though the regular chatas is in a keva, it's a seira, kisvei seira, but the chatas nasi is a zachar, and the last carbon asham, the Gemara Taga asks that asham taka only applies by yachid, by zachar. I mean, the Mishnah continues: Karbonais hayachid chayavim b'achriyusan ubechrayis niskehem. Or karbonas sibur ein chayavim loy b'achriyusan v'loy b'achrayis niskehem. A carbon yachid, your chayav b'achrayis, Rashi says, even on a carbon which is kavur lem zman, like a yeledis or a mitzayra, if it passes that zman, they still have to bring the carbon. By a carbon sibur, if it's over zman, then it's botol karbonon. And niskeim as well, which is the nesachim that come along with the carbon, the soilus and the yayin. Aval zok the Mishnah chayav b'achrayis niskeim mishekarav hazavach. Once you bring the carbon, then you would have to bring the nesachim even many days later. Gemara learns out from psukim that you could bring it afilu b'layla v'afilu acher kama yamim. Now the Mishnah goes on to the reverse way, and this is a machlekes. Yesh bekarbonas tzibur mashein bekarbonas yachid shekarbonas hayitzibur doichen es hashabes es hatuma, or karbonas yachid ein doichen lo es hashabes v'lo es hatuma. Carbon tzibur is doichen hashabes and tuma, as opposed to a carbon yachid. Amar Ameir v'lo chavisi kohen gadol upar yom hakipurim. The chavisi kohen gadol, which is referring to the carbon that the kohen gadol brought, machatzisa b'aboker, machatzisa be'erev, and upar yom hakipurim, which is the par that the kohen gadol brought on Yom Kippur. He brought his own par, so it had halacha like a carbon yachin, and yet it's zeicha Shabbos zatuma, elosh zman and kavua. Narvas, the reason why the cases are deicha tuma and Shabbos is not because it's a carbon tzibur, but rather because the zman is kavua. The Tais Yanta points out that there's no machlekes Rameir and the Chachamim Bedina. They both hold that chavisi kohen gadol and par yom kippurim is deicha Shabbos and tuma. He brings the Rambam that says that the tam Rameir hu tam amiti v'shogar ve'in chelik al zeh. Mishnah Beis chatas hayachid shekipru bailov, a chatas that got a kapara, he lost his carbon and he brought another carbon chatas, and now he finds the first one. So that first one is mesais, has to be killed. So you lock it up in a door until it dies, and that's a halacha Moshe misinai. Shel tzibur, but a chatas tzibur ain't a mesais, because the Tanakama holds that this halacha Moshe misinai, that chatas hayachid shekipra by love and mesas, was dafka said by a carbon yachid. Yehuda Omer Yamusu, no, it doesn't make a difference. It's tzibur or yachid. It's also Halacha Mishmi Sinai that it's meses. Amar Rab Shimon, Mamatzino bevlad chatas ubetmuras chatas v'chatas shemesu ba'aleha. So there's in the Brisa it's mavur more on daf Yudal and Aleph Tesvav Tezayin and Aleph on the bottom that there are chamesh chatais meses. There are 5 cases that a chatas has to be put to death, like we just learned. We said kipru ba'aleha, but really there's also if a chatas gives birth to a child, that small animal has to be is meses. Temurah is chatas if you say zu tachas zu, and also if it's mesu ba'aleh, it's also put to death. And the last one is ibra shnasa if it's over the year. So Zok Reb Shimon, 3 of them, vlad chatas is dafka biyachid dvarim amurim, because like we said in the last Mishnah, chatas sibur is not in a keva, so you'll never have the case of vlad chatas. The second case, Temuras Chatas, is also dafka by a Yachid Amurim, because by a Tzibur is a Noise Temurah. And the third case, Chatas Shemesu Ba'alea, is also dafka by a Yachid, the Brisa says, because Ein HaTzibur Mesim, you're never going to have that a whole entire Tzibur dies. So just like Zakub Shimon, just like these 3 are dafka b'yachid and not b'tzibur, af shekipru ba'alev v'shav v'shnasa, the remaining 2 cases also b'yachid dvar mamurim avaloi b'tzibur. And the Gemara asks, chidan and efsher mishi efsher, because the first 3 we said you'll never have the case in the first place to know that it's mesis. You'll never have a vlad of a chatas sibur. You'll never have a temura of a chatas sibur, and you'll never have meis bailim by a chatas sibur. Ein Sham in the Gemara, what the Gemara answers.